Hello everyone, this is Preeti. I'm the registered migration agent at Aussizz group, and today I'm here to talk about the graduate visas. So we'll be talking about this graduate visa is upon the completion of 2 years of an Australian study, and this visa is basically on the grounds of two applications, which is the postgraduate stream or the graduate stream. Postgraduate stream is for the people who have done the master's or the bachelor's study at least for 2 years in Australia. Now, we have to make sure in these scenarios, because what happens is sometimes the people have done their graduate visas on the grounds of that they have done the diploma, and then they have gone up to the bachelor's and taken all the credits of the diploma, and by taking the credits of the diploma, the bachelor's that the actual study was less than 2 years, was 18 months or 15 months or whatsoever. In these grounds, you are not eligible for the graduate visa for the postgraduate stream, because you haven't done the level 7 and above study for bachelor's and master's level. So in this case, you will be eligible for the graduate stream only, which implies that you need to have your occupation from the long-term list, and you need to have applied for at least for a provisional skills assessment, if not the full skills assessment. And also this master's, the graduate stream visa is, postgraduate stream visa is not applicable for you if you have applied or have entered Australia on a student visa before November 2011. That's 5th of November 2011. So you have to keep this date also in your mind, that if you have ever held a student visa before this date, then you are not eligible to apply for the master's stream. That is the postgraduate stream. You have to go for the graduate stream whether or not you have done your 2 years of study. This is not on the basis of the continuous study only. This is on the grounds of the study which you have taken in accumulative way also. So for example, I've got a client, she did the study, the Australian study for 1 year, and then left the country, came back in Australia after 3 years, did another 1 year of a study, and she was asking if she's eligible for the graduate stream, postgraduate stream or not. Yes, you are eligible as long as your study is highly relevant to each other. So that is also one important, that if you have done a nested course for 2 years of a study, the study needs to be highly relevant to each other. And what does that mean is that it has to be relevant to whether you have done the skills assessment or the career outcome of that study. Okay. Now, I'll give you an example about the graduate stream visa, where you need a skills assessment and where you need 2 years of an Australian study. Now, your 2 years of Australian study needs to be highly relevant to your skills assessment. Now, for example, I have done the bachelor's engineering degree from back home. Here I have done a diploma and an advanced diploma in the project management. Generally, the diploma and advanced diploma for project management by itself is not eligible for a graduate stream, because you do not have a skills assessment on the grounds of a project management. Now, in this scenario, since the applicant has done the bachelor's degree from back home in the engineering, we can get the skills assessment based on the bachelor's degree of the back home, and can make the project management highly relevant to your engineering qualification, which it is, and grounds on with the detailed submission, we could go ahead with this one also. So these are also one of the scenarios which you need to make sure. Otherwise, for a graduate visa, if I talk about the trades courses that most of the applicants or lots of our clients are doing it, in these scenarios, the provisional skills assessment which is required is for 360 hours. Now, if you have done a 360 hours of a paid employment or a vocational placement from your college, then you are also eligible for this scenario. And these 360 hours, The skills assessment the body is the Trades Recognition Australia, for which you must have applied for. Whether you have received an outcome for this one or not, it does not matter. You can still apply for the visa. I again reiterate that you can still apply for the visa. This thing does not mean that your visa will be granted in case your assessment comes negative. So it will impact in case your skills assessment does not come positive, and within the time frame by the time your skills assessment, your TR officer has requested you for the documents. So the time is also a very important aspect for this visa. So make sure when you're applying for this, you apply well in time for your skills assessment, so that you get at least your occupation receipt for this one, the application receipt, and you can apply for the visa. And by the time your visa officer has been allocated, you have got your skills assessment outcome, and you can upload in your application, and that's how that is required. English is also one of the major requirement, irrespective of whatever stream you are. And the English requirement is you must have sit for your test before you apply. Lots of clients, what they have done is they have booked the test date and they have applied for the visa because their visas are expiring in a couple of days, but the test is after your visa is expiring. No, you cannot do that. You must have sit for your English test, and then only you can apply for your graduate visa. If the test date is after, although you have applied, but the test date when you are sitting and doing it is after the date of the lodgment, then again it could be a reason for a refusal. So make sure that you sit for the test before you apply for the visa. Another one very important aspect is the completion date of your studies. That is really, really important. I've seen lots of factors where the clients have got their results but haven't got the completion letters yet, or their results are not fully out, but their visas are expiring and they have lost the visa because they thought that their courses have finished. But when they actually get the completion letter, the course completion date is after the lodgement of the visa. Even if it's a 1 day after, the visa will not be approved because your course must be completed, and the completion letter must have a date which is before the lodgement of your visa application. Another important aspect in this application is the Australian Federal Police check. This must be the federal check, which is for the complete disclosure, and has to be the nationwide. Sometimes you get the police check which is on the basis of the statewide, that your state has issued it, and it is only a name disclosure, not a complete disclosure. That is not accepted for the purpose of this visa, and that could again lead to the refusal of the visas. Case officers are very particular in these scenarios, and they do not tell you that what it is, and they just only request for the Australian Federal Police check, and then if you still provide the wrong one, they will refuse the visas on those grounds. Health insurance is again major factor. You need to have a health insurance for yourself or your spouse, or the number of applicants you have it in your application. Now this health check and health insurance, unlike a student visa where you pay the full health insurance upfront, you don't have to do that. This is a separate health insurance. You have to pay on the basis of the monthly basis. And the health insurance start date, this is a question which we receive a lot, that when it should start, because sometimes you have got a visa for another 1 year because you have enrolled for the further courses also. So when it should start, basically either when your bridging visa comes into an effect on that day, or your case officer is allocated, whatever comes first should be the start date of your health insurance. So this is an important factor. Your health insurance, the date of a health insurance, when it should be starting. If you started too early, you could do that, but you will be paying extra, because then in this case you have to maintain your student health cover until your student visa is there. And if you start your graduate visa health cover too early, then you are paying both of those ones. So in that scenario, when your bridging visa comes into an effect, that is the date when you should be starting your health insurance. or your bridging visa hasn't come into an effect and your case officer has been allocated and requested for the documents, make sure your health insurance should start from that date itself. So these are one of the major aspects of an application, which is that what courses have you done. If it's just a bachelor's and a master's straight away, then you are eligible for the postgraduate stream. You do not have to worry about the skills assessment. You do not have to worry about the list of the long-term list, whether your occupation is in that list or not. In case you have done the nested courses where your bachelor's and master's is not of a full 2 years, then you are eligible for the graduate stream. Or if you have done a diploma or an advanced diploma or an associate degree level course, then you are eligible for a graduate stream. For the graduate stream, again, the skills assessment is necessary. That is, whether it is a provisional skills assessment or full skills assessment must be applied. The reference number must be used to apply for the graduate visa. Then comes the English requirement, where you must have sit for the test before the application, and the required score is 6 overall with no less than 5 each, and you must get that one before the lodgment of your application. Then the Australian Federal Police check, you do not need the state one, you need the nation one, which is the federal check, which is the national police check, and also you need the complete disclosure, not the name check. Then your requirement is about the health insurances, and you need to meet those ones. Once you apply for the visa, case officers would request you for the medicals, and you have to undergo the medicals. Now, for this one, we generally say that if you have got the medicals and you think that within the next couple of months, within 5 or 6 months, you're going to apply for the permanent residency soon, then you must get the additional test of the blood test also done, and because that will save you the money of applying for doing the medicals again. And when you're applying for your permanent residency, use this HAP ID, give it to the officer, and they will relate it and link it to your application for the permanent residency also. In addition to these ones, another major factor is that you must be in Australia at the time of application as well as at the time of decision when you apply for your graduate visa. Very important factor. Lots of students, what they have done is that they think that once they apply for the graduate visa, they upload all the documents, it's a decision ready application, and they think that it's under processing. They can travel to the offshore. Yes, you can travel, but again, when you are traveling, make sure that your application is not a decision ready, because if it's a decision ready and your officer has been allocated, he picks up your file and he sees that you're offshore, they do not ask you to come back or anything. They can decide upon an application, and that could be a negative effect on your application, because at the time of your application as well as at the time of the decision, you must be in Australia for the lodgement of an application. Right? So I just suggest that if you have got any queries regarding the graduate visa, please write it in the message box and or in the comment box, and I'm more than happy to take those ones.
I've got 2 questions here. One's from Manish. How many hours we can work on 485?
Okay, 485 has got a full-time work right, is a full-time work right visa. So there's no limited number of hours. Full-time does not mean that you can only work 40 hours or 35 hours a week. Unlimited number of hours, as long as whatever you could manage. Also, when your bridging visa comes into an effect and your 485 visa has not been granted, you still have, there's no condition on your bridging visas, you can work full-time, and full-time means any number of hours you can work.
Another question is from Vaishali. Can I provide TOEFL score which is valid?
Yes, any English score. So if that is the TOEFL, CAE, IELTS, PTE, OET, they all are acceptable and must be taken within last 3 years of your when you are lodging your visa application. If you have lodged your visa application and after that, while processing, if the 3 years are over, that's fine. You don't have to worry about it, because it is the requirement at the time of application. There are a couple of requirements in a graduate visa which is at the time of application only. right? So sitting for an English test is an at the time of application requirement. So if it gets expired while your application is processing, you don't have to worry about it. Then the skills assessment is a requirement at the time of application. You must have lodged for it. English skills assessment, your completion of the study is also requirement at the time of an application. So if you have completed, or your course completion date on the completion letter does not have got the post lodgment date, it is not acceptable. So these are, so for a 485 visa, most of the requirements is at the time of application, except the skills assessment outcome, which can be provided at the time of decision of an application also. Right.
Another question is from Danish. How long does it take to get 485 visa after successful submission?
Okay. The standard processing time for the graduate visa is 4 months, and so 4 months, about the 4 months, but it depends upon the caseload of the officer also. The busiest time of the year is somewhere in the March, when you have finished your courses, so they have got a lot of applications at that point of time. So it is taking about 4 months, but you could get it earlier also, within the 3 also, if you give the decision ready applications. However, in saying that, in a 485 visa, the time frame for the 2 years clicks from the grant of the visa application. So the later it is granted, the better for you guys. So that's how it works. Oh yeah, I would also like to tell you about the extension of the graduate visa. So there's a lot of questions about it where the clients have been asking, so am I eligible for the graduate visa extension or not, and whatnot. So if you are a holder of a graduate visa on and before 16th of November 2019, you are not eligible for this one, because to be extension for this one, you must have got a graduate visa granted after 16th November 2019, and then the first graduate visa that you can lodge is 16th November 2021. To lodge this visa, you must be a holder of a graduate visa. So that means that if you have got the graduate visa before that date, you cannot even apply for that. So you must be a holder and must have continued to live in a regional area. So what does that mean is that being Western Australia has got the cities, it's a regional city, right? So if you have studied from Western Australia and you continue to live in Western Australia for 2 years, and on 16 November 2021 you are a holder of a graduate visa, you will be eligible to apply for an extension of your graduate visa. This is only available to the people who have done the bachelor's or the master's degree in Western Australia or any other regional area. So, and the ones who have applied for the graduate stream, which is the 18 months of a visa, are not eligible for the extension of their graduate visas. The graduate visas are being given once in a lifetime, so as a primary holder. And then after that, later, if your spouse does the study and becomes eligible for the graduate visa, they can apply and you can be a dependent on that one. You can be dependent again, but cannot be the primary holder of a graduate visa again. So that is only as a primary holder, you can only apply for one time. You guys can apply for an extension if you continue to live in a regional area while holding this visa, and are holding a visa on the 16th of November 2021 also, and have studied also in the regional area, which is Western Australia. Right.
And there's one more from Lakwinder Sandhu. What is the best state for job ready program?
Lakwinder, so we really cannot, because I don't know what's your occupation is. So can you, if you're listening to me, so can you tell me what your current occupation, what have you studied? If it's the commercial cookery, or you are talking about the job ready program in a commercial cookery, then WA is the best state, because you would have done your 2 years of study from here, you would have done your job ready program from here, and WA has got the occupation chef as listed into this one also. So since I don't know what your occupation is, I really cannot comment on it, and which place have you studied, I really cannot comment upon that, where you should be doing your job ready program.
Danish is asking again, what is the last date to apply for 485 visa if the student visa is expiring on 15th of March?
Do not keep your applications too late for the lodgment, especially not on the last date. We have seen the outrage of the internet or the department's website closer to those ones. So apply within the you are eligible to apply even on the 15th of March also, but we do not recommend that one. Apply by 10th or 11th. You could do that. There's no restrictions on these ones.
That's all I have.
All right, okay. Thank you everyone for listening today, and if you have got any more questions for this one, please write it in the message box and we endeavor to get back to you. Thank you so much and have a nice day.
I've got one more question.
Okay.
After you signed off, Subra Manishri, can we apply 485 visa after advanced diploma?
Advanced diploma of what? You know, again I said. So to apply for a graduate visa on the grounds of a diploma and an advanced diploma, you need to have a skills assessment. We need to find out whether we can get the skills assessment for you or not. If it's an advanced diploma of just a leadership and management, and you do not have any skills assessment on the grounds of any previous study that you have done it, then we cannot apply for it. Leadership and management, and we don't know what's your background. Can you get a skills assessment based on any other studies what you have done or not? So yeah, probably if you've just done these things and there's no more studies which is relevant to this in the from your background, then probably not, because you cannot get the skills assessment or the occupation from a long-term list.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing you guys.